New mic? Okay, so thank you very much, Venerable Ratana. And all this staff of Choe and all the participants here, it is always a great joy to be here with you. As Venerable Ratana said, that this is quite a regular the programs that we are having here, at least once a year in Choe. And so one thing which makes me very happy is that in Delhi, when I'm in Delhi, my Indian friends, they would for the job transfer, they oftentimes are transferred to Mumbai. So the question that they come up with is whether or not there are centers in Mumbai which provide the study programs, practice, and so forth. And Mumbai, there is one Tamarind Center, very good center. But at the same time, it doesn't have a concrete place there. The center is there, very active, and the people who are involved, they are so doing the best. So, and those people who are in Bangalore, I feel particularly very lucky. People are very lucky here in Bangalore. Oftentimes I get the feedback from my friends from Bangalore that because of Choe is so convenient for us that we have always a place to go to. You want to meditate, or there are, say, the regular teachers like Ratana, Nandala, Dixola, regular teachers. They are very fortunate. And in Mumbai, it's very difficult because of the distance, very difficult to have teachers coming there regularly. And then in other places, for example, Calcutta, Lucknow, Madras, I don't know, there must be some centers, but something as prominent as Choe is not really there. So from that point of view, the people in Bangalore, they are very fortunate. You are all very fortunate to have such a wonderful center here. And of course, it is the blessings of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and it is the blessings of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and then the amazingly the kind and knowledgeable the teachers from Sarah Monastery, that so many teachings in the center is so alive and so active. So from that point of view, I also feel very comfortable. If there is someone in Delhi who say that I go to Bangalore, where should I go? So I can very comfortably tell them that just go to Choe Center. So this is the recommendation that I always give to the people, and particularly here, the volunteers, the stable members here. We see that because of you, the center can remain alive, and because of the center remaining alive, that many others can easily find a place to turn to for their practice, meditation, cooking their problems, and so forth. Okay, so this is a little bit of the basic intro that I'd like to share with you. And so as Venerable Ratana already indicated, that we're going to have a 3-day teaching, and tomorrow is like whole day. Then day after is at 4 o'clock. Day after? At 5:30. Okay. 5:30 till 8. Okay. So, what, as Prabhupada said, that what we're going to do today is on what is known as the Mahamudra practice. And Mahamudra practice, which consists of two parts. One is identifying the nature of the mind, and which is also known as awareness of the awareness, also known as awareness of the awareness. And then number two is to see to the ultimate reality, which most of you have been hearing about, emptiness, emptiness of this mind. And because that this is a very specialized topic, and when the two Shandilas, Shandi Y, Shandi G, Shandi, both of them when they made the request, they were a little, say, apprehensive as to this topic may be too sophisticated or too advanced for some of the participants. So I just said that it doesn't matter, just let it be. Let it be the topic. Because the point is that this topic is very important, and although I may not expect all of us to actually practice this, but this is going to be incredibly great, say, if I'm not too presumptuous, like a groundbreaking, say, the instruction, which we all, after knowing this, learning this, then you will see that whatever we learn later on, we see that we can put them in place. We will also come to know that what is to be practiced. If I am to do a PhD, then I should do MPhil, or although in England or the UK, in America, one does not have to do MPhil for PhD, but say in most of the universities here, even in India also, it's not really necessary in some of the universities. But same in most of the universities, once you see what a PhD is like, then you will have the eagerness to do MPhil, the masters, then the bachelors, and then school, right? So likewise, this topic which we're going to do is going to be a little technical, and I do know that amongst the participants here, there are some very serious practitioners, and for them it's going to be more directly helpful, and for others still it's going to be very helpful in ways of presenting the blueprint for what the real Dharma is like. So with that in mind, so the 3 days, and see how much you can make it, make it to all the 3 days. Whereas should you have your, say, commitments, other commitments, like your jobs and so forth, then we can't do anything, in which case, as long as you have that enthusiasm to learn this, then you can listen to the recordings as well, right? The point is that, of course, today there may be some, and then tomorrow, Sunday, there may be new faces, and I don't know how much the new faces will be benefited out of the class, but we cannot say no to them, because tomorrow most people will get free time tomorrow. In the absence of the introduction, which I will do today, I'm not too sure how much will be above some benefit to the newcomers from tomorrow, and particularly the day after tomorrow. The day after tomorrow, there will be even, okay, so this is pure digression. Okay, with that in mind, same, let's turn to page, let's turn to page 3 of the prayer book. must be a setting a proper motivation. Setting a proper motivation. Setting a proper motivation consists of three parts. Three parts. One is the refuge field. Number two is Bodhicitta field. Number three is the purpose of the class or the practice. Three. Refuge field. Kyamdro. Bodhicitta field. Simke. And then also I'm just mixing the Tibetan English. Kyamdro, refuge field, refuge. Then Simke, Bodhicitta. And then finally Gopa, the purpose of this class and the purpose of the practice. For the refuge field, visualize, wholeheartedly visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you. And what you visualize, along with that, how to visualize. That is so important. How to visualize, that makes the whole difference. That is, visualize them, enlightened beings, all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, as your very affectionate parents. And you, imagine you come home, very young child, come home, demoralized, being bullied by elder children in the school, and your parents are waiting there to give full love, affection, attention, and embrace. Next, Bodhicitta field. Again, said what to visualize and how to visualize. What to visualize? You visualize your two grandparents on the two sides, and all of family members. And all dear sentient beings in Bangalore, in India, in your own countries, in the universe, in the entire universe. And you might have difficulty with some of you might have difficulty with your parents. It doesn't matter. Keep in mind that the purpose of our being together here is to transcend the ordinary people's thinking. So the fact that we tend to have a clash with your parents and so forth, these are all the gestures of the ordinary people. So the whole purpose of this is to transcend. And by being in conflict, confrontation, it only gives pain in us. And the purpose of our being together here is to see how to eradicate the pains, how to eliminate the pains within us. And the first cause, immediate cause of the pain is the confrontation within the family, with your, the parents and so forth. So see how to transcend that, transcend ordinary people's thinking by being inclusive of your parents and everyone with you. Number two, how to visualize. Imagine that you are the mother and all others are like your children. And imagine they come home demoralized, very sad, after being bullied in the school by the elder children, and you are there to give full love, affection, attention, and embrace to the extent that each one of them feels themselves as so special in your eyes. And the very purpose, number three, the very purpose of this class or the teaching is to discover the ultimate source of happiness that exists within each one of us. Like a gold, when mixed with the soil in its ore form, in the form of ore, you don't find the gold glowing. It's just the soil. In the eyes of the ordinary beings, ordinary people, it's not a total gold. There's no gold there. It's just the ordinary soil. But in the eyes of the experts, there's a gold there. How do we know this? By removing the soil. By removing the soil, as the soil is removed more and more, the gold inside starts to glow more and more. And then from there you get a clue that there's a gold inside. And then you remove the soil more and more the purification happens, more the gold will glow from inside. So likewise, there's the gold like the perfect source of happiness within each one of us. And that's a fact. It is not fabricated, it is not exaggerated. This is a fact. We have to discover that. Okay. Now, if it is there, why not it is visible? Because it is like the gold. When mixed with the soil, the gold is not visible. So what is that soil like? What is that soil like in the case of us, which obscures this gold like the seed of perfection, seed of ultimate happiness? So that is known as the mental defilements. Like these, what is the soil for the gold? The mental defilements are for the ultimate source happiness within us. And this mental defilement, keep in mind that there are two levels, gross and the subtle. Gross, such as the negative actions, 10 non-virtuous actions, stealing, killing, sexual misconduct, lying, slandering, then the harsh words, idle gossip, covetousness, ill will, the wrong view. And these 10 non-virtuous actions, they arise out of our contaminated emotions, negative emotions, such as attachment, anger, jealousy, greed, competitiveness, and so forth. And these in turn arise from the self-grasping ignorance, complemented by self-centered attitude. So this is what is known as the gross mental developments, which obscure this beautiful Buddha nature within us, beautiful gold-like ultimate source of happiness within us. So this is the gross mental developments, and there's a subtle mental development. The subtle one constitutes what is known as the cognitive obscurations, the presence which obscures us from achieving Buddhahood, total perfection. And how to get rid of these two defilements so that the soil is eradicated, removed, and the gold comes out. Likewise, how to eradicate this mental defilement so that the ultimate source of happiness within us becomes manifest. So this is through applying remedies. What are the remedies? To know the remedies well, we need to know the defilements so well. And the defilements, as I said earlier, the first one, the gross one, also known as afflictive obscurations, Myundip in Tibetan, Myundip, afflictive obscurations. So that is finally rooted to the self-grasping ignorance. Self-grasping ignorance, how to get rid of this? If you cut this self-grasping ignorance and all the offshoots of the self-grasping ignorance in the form of afflictive emotions, attachment, anger, and so forth, and the contaminated karmas, they will all disappear on their own. For example, say, however millions of the poisonous leaves they are growing on the tree, if you cut the root, however millions of the poisonous leaves they are in the tree, they will all dry automatically. You don't have to do anything. Like when you cut the self-grasping ignorance, which is at the root, then all our negative emotions, all our contaminated karmas, they will all come to halt, they will come to end spontaneously. Now the question is, how to get rid of this root, self-grasping ignorance. Self-grasping ignorance, by the very definition, it is ignorance. Ignorance is like darkness. In dark, you don't see anything. And the darkness can best be eradicated, removed, dispelled by introducing light. So to eradicate this ignorance, we have to introduce the light of the wisdom. It is the only way by which to eradicate this darkness and ignorance, by introducing the light of the wisdom. So what is this wisdom? This is what we're going to study for the next 3 days. So the next part is the cognitive obscuration, or the subtle stains. And the subtle stains, how to get rid of that? So subtle stains, they manifest. They are actually the stains left by the self-grasping ignorance, the inactive subtle stains. And they manifest in the form of self-centered attitude. And the self-centered attitude can best be remedied by the unconditional love for others, other cherishing mind. So the purpose of our practice here is to activate the two remedies, the wisdom of emptiness and the other cherishing mind. So these are two things that we need to think of whenever we come to Choe something for participation in any kind of program. Okay, with knowing that these are the two things that we have to apply the remedies to remove the mental defilements, so that this ultimate source of happiness within each one of us gets manifest, and that you become like a sun where no external factors, obscurations, cloud can obscure you. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to page 3 of the prayer book, and imagine that your two parents, all sentient beings are joining you, and you are leading this, and all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they are watching us with a great, great, great love and affection. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Dharma, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel the perverted views. To you, the Buddha Dharma, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Dharma, I pay homage. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no rising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the Buddhas and of the hearers and Bodhisattvas, who through the knowledge of all these hearers singing pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes those having migrated to achieve the aims of the world, and through possession of omniscience, the subduer set forth the varieties having all aspects. Okay, this mantra is very precious mantra, and some of you already know how to recite this. So I'll recite this, and the others who already know this, you join with me, and others who are more new, you listen to us, and then you also join us in the recitation. So the meaning is as given below. First we'll read the meaning. It's okay. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessational causes as well as taught by the great seer. So the meaning in a concise form, concisely, it says that all phenomena of happiness, phenomena of miseries, they don't arise randomly. They all arise by dependence on the causes. All phenomena arise from causes, particularly the miseries. They arise from the causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. Then the question is, what are the causes of the miseries? To exterminate the miseries, we need to exterminate the causes. So what are the causes? So the causes are rightly indicated or taught by the Tathagata. Tathagata referring to the Buddha. So the causes taught by the Buddha, as we learned earlier, all miseries, they stem from the contaminated karmas. And contaminated karmas, they stem from the afflictive emotions. Afflictive emotions, they all stem from the self-grasping ignorance. So these are the chain of the causes of the miseries. And if you know this chain of the causes of the miseries, then you will become so convinced to exterminate the final root of the miseries, which is the self-grasping ignorance. Okay, so with this in mind, it says the cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Cessation, meaning coming to an end, bringing an end to the miseries, bringing an end to the causes of the miseries. That is also taught by the great seer. Great seer here referring to the Buddha. Okay, so this is the meaning of the mantra which I'm going to recite, Om Ye Dharma. Okay, so I'll recite this, and others will join me, and those who know how to recite this with the tune, and others who are coming here newly, you can join us. You listen to that first, and then join us. We'll say this 3 times. And this is so precious. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Deshan Tathagato Hyavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Eva Mati Mahashramanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Deshan Tathagato Yavatat Desham Chayo Nirodha Eva Mati Mahashramanaye Swaha. all phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of causes as well as taught by the great seer. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations, the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations, the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I chanted the mantra of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Sanye Joda Soge Chonamna Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyasuchi Dage Chinso Gebe Sonamki Dola Benjir Sanye Dubaresho Sanye Joda Soge Chonamna Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyasuchi Dage Chinso Gebe Sonamki Dola Benjir Sanye Dubaresho Sanye Joda Soge Chonamna Chanjo Bardo Dane Gyasuchi Dage Chinso Gebe Sonamki Dola Benjir Sanye Dubaresho. Okay, let's turn to page 9. Page 9. The mantra there, the mantra. Okay, so this mantra is the mantra of the Heart Sutra. Mantra of the Heart Sutra. And Heart Sutra, this we need to have a little bit of background of the Heart Sutra. Okay, so the Heart Sutra, what is known as the Vulture's Peak. By the way, how many of you been to Vulture's Peak? Chagapumpuri? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, the Vulture's Peak near Rajgir. Okay, not near, within Rajgir. So the legend has it. The legend has it that the Buddha Shakyamuni was to give a discourse on that hill, and the presided, the attended to by the great number of the monks, the bodhisattvas, the nuns, and the lay devotees, and from the other world systems, from the different world systems, the bodhisattvas, for example, say within let's say within Milky Way galaxy solar system, very unlikely that there are lives in other planets except the planet Earth within the solar system. But within Milky Way galaxy, there are innumerable world systems within the Milky Way galaxy. So there, the Buddha very clearly indicated that there are so many life forms, the worlds which sustain the life forms. There are so innumerable world systems are there. So within Milky Way galaxy, the science today, we could not even explore the solar system. Solar system, just tiny dot within Milky Way galaxy. And within Milky Way galaxy, what we have for the solar system, there are millions and trillions of such solar systems within the Milky Way galaxy. And Milky Way galaxy is just one galaxy out of the millions and trillions of galaxies that exist in this universe. So in other words, what science has discovered is 0.00000000. Just you can go at infinitum, 0.00001 of what universe is really, what the universe really is. So the point is that from the various world systems in the universe, the bodhisattvas, very advanced bodhisattvas, they came to realize from the clairvoyance, and they came to realize that in Rajgir, on the planet Earth here, solar system planet Earth, Rajgir, on the hill, the Buddha Shakyamuni was going to preside over the congregation, and a discourse on Heart Sutra was going to be done. So these bodhisattvas from the different world systems, they took flight to the planet Earth through, say, by manifesting themselves in the form of vultures. So the a small hill, was just from distance was seen as a flock of stacks of vultures. It is for this reason that this hill came to be known as Vulture's Hill. So this is according to a legend. Okay, so now the Buddhist Shakyamuni was presiding over the gathering, and on one side was Aravalokteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion. Then on the other side was Shariputra, and then surrounded by the Bodhisattvas, monks, nuns, the lay devotees, surrounded by all those beings there. Then the Buddha Shakyamuni just went into samadhi, into profound samadhi, into emptiness, into the ultimate reality. As the Buddha Shakyamuni was into this samadhi, then Aravalokteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, or in Tantra system, the Buddha of compassion, Aravalokteshvara, he was also just absorbed into the contemplation on what constitutes ultimate reality. Then the Buddha Shakyamuni, because he being fully enlightened being, the Buddha, he's able to get access to the two truths simultaneously. Ultimate truth, conventional truth, two truths simultaneously, which means that he can be in samadhi, simultaneously he can get access to the outside world. So with this ability, then he telepathically, the Buddha Shakyamuni telepathically inspired Shariputra to ask question to Aravalokteshvara. And outwardly, from the way we perceive the Buddha Shakyamuni, we could see him in meditative samadhi. But in actuality, he was into both the dimension, the ultimate and the conventional. So with that in mind, then what happened was that the Shariputra, then he stood up with prostrations to the Buddha Shakyamuni, and then turned towards the Aravalokteshvara, then asked Aravalokteshvara as to, so how should the child of a lineage, practice the professional wisdom? How should the child of a lineage practice the professional wisdom? Meaning, child of a lineage, what is meant by child of a lineage? Say in the ancient times, when we speak about the prince is considered as very important. Why? Because knowing that this young prince, although he doesn't know anything at the moment, eventually he's going to become the chief ruler of the whole kingdom. So therefore, he's treated as so special while he was still a young child. Likewise, someone instead of becoming a king, who's going to become Buddha, which is more difficult, and which is more important, becoming a king or becoming a Buddha? Becoming a Buddha. Buddha is like king of the kings. So anyone who has the capacity, anyone who is in this line, eventually to become Buddha, so they are known as the child of the lineage of the Buddhas, right? So just as the prince is considered as so important, anyone who aspires to become a Buddha is very important, more important than the prince. So all those who seek to become Buddha eventually, for the benefit of sentient beings, we are referred to as the child or the children of the Buddhas, children of the lineage. Which lineage? Lineage of the Buddha. So therefore, anyone who aspires to become Buddha eventually, each one of us are very precious and very important. So the question is asked as to how a child of the lineage should become Buddha, and how should they practice the professional wisdom. Professional wisdom meaning the wisdom to see the reality. So how should one practice this? This was a question raised by Shariputra, and then Aravalokteshvara gave the response. And the response that he gave was that we should be able to see all phenomena like a dream. We should be able to see all phenomena like a dream. This was the response given by Aravalokteshvara. And then he went into detail. Aravalokteshvara went into detail as first of all, how to see, say, the self, yourself, like a dream. One. Then number two, they say this I, which is seen as the person talking, this I is nothing other than the five aggregates. And of course we'll go into more detail on the body, the mind, and the mind further split into four aggregates. Four mental aggregates and about one physical aggregate, total five aggregates. So with the five aggregates, within the five aggregates, this self who's talking is not really there. So while he was visible from distance, when you go into the aggregates, the person disappears. So it's empty. So this is what we're going to go into maybe study more. So this is where the monastic members, the people, or they study for years and years and years. And Choe Ling, we are thinking of doing that in 3 days. Not only in 3 days, say maybe a few hours, right? So 2 hours, what? 3 hours, day one, maybe 4 or 5 hours, day two, then another 2 hours. Like within like 9 or 10 hours, we have finished thinking of completing everything. Where in the monastic institutions, they study for years and years and years. It doesn't matter. Anyway, don't disclose the secret. Right? People may either become jealous or they may become sarcastic. We never know. Okay, so the point is that then he went to explain as to how the self is like a dream. Seems from distance to be existent. When you go there, it's not there, like a rainbow. Rainbow you see from distance, you go closer towards the rainbow, it disappears. So likewise, the self also is like a dream, like a rainbow. And then the five aggregates, then he went to explain how even each of the five aggregates, they're also like dream. Then how the mechanism of the Four Noble Truths, the dynamics of the Four Noble Truths, even they're also dream-like. And then they say how we interact with the world. How we interact with the world, say the objects, the phenomena with which we interact, there's 6 kinds of phenomena, 6 objects. 5 sensory and the 1 mental. The world with which we interact is just can be subsumed under these six objects. And then there are 6 subjects which interact with the 6 objects, 6 subjects, the 5 senses and the 1 mental, right? 6 subjects. And there should be 6 mediums. 6 objects, 6 subjects, and 6 mediums. These 18 elements encapsulate the entire phenomena that exists in this universe. Everything that exists in this universe are all encapsulated under these 18 elements. 6 objects, 6 subjects, and the 6 mediums. Okay, so Avalokiteshvara was going to detail as how each of these 18 elements which constitute the world, which constitute the universe, they're all dream-like, they're all illusion-like. Okay, then after explaining this, then Avalokiteshvara went on to explain the point number 3, which is that what's the benefit if we see everything like a dream? Then he went to explain that the benefit is that, say you are in a dream, you're going through a nightmare. You're going through a nightmare in a dream. By the way, how many of you have been through a nightmare in a dream? Once, at least once in your life? Okay, most of us. Okay. So this nightmare, what is the final solution to get out of this nightmare? Wake up. By waking up, you realize that what was happening in the dream was all coming from our mind, nothing really in the air. Wake up. By waking up, you see the reality. In the dream, you're being under the sway of the deception, seeing the dream as real. When you wake up, you see that the dream is a dream. That dream is empty of being real. When you know the reality, then your nightmare fear dissolves automatically. You don't do anything. Fear dissolves. So, Avalokiteshvara, when you explain that, when you see the reality as it is, then the nightmare of samsara will stop, will dissolve. All the fears will drop. And then he further added that this is the entrance. This is the entrance through which all the Buddhas of the past, present, and the future, they traverse. This is the only entrance through all the entrance of all the Buddhas of the past, present, future, they traverse. This is only entrance. So therefore, anyone who aspires to become a Buddha, anyone who is holding the lineage, child of the lineage, who is the child of the lineage, should know this entrance. Entrance to see everything like a dream, the entrance which all the Buddhas of the past, present, future traverse, and you should also be traversing this path if you really want to become one of the lineage, the lineage, the child of the lineage. Okay, so with this in mind, this amazingly precious, the sutra, this was what Aravaliteshvara presented, and then Buddha Shakyamuni, then he came out of the meditation samadhi and then commented on what Aravaliteshvara said, and in a way like approval or the endorsement, saying that whatever Aravaliteshvara said was just the perfect, and this is how we all should be practicing. This is what the Buddha indicated. Then all the beings, all the attendees, they all applauded what the Buddhists, what the Buddha the comment made by the Buddha Shakyamuni, that endorsing what the response given by Aravaliteshvara as something which we all should be practicing. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to page 9, the last mantra. So this is the mantra that we need to keep in mind. And as we start this mantra, imagine the Buddha Shakyamuni is exhorting us thus: don't remain in the fears of samsara. Don't remain in the nightmare of samsara. Come out of this nightmare. Come out of this nightmare. Come towards the ultimate happiness. And you hearing this melodious voice of Buddha Shakyamuni, then you inspire all your two parents, all your family members, all dear sentient beings, informing them that look, this is what a very compassionate teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni, inspires us to do. Let us not stay in samsara anymore. Let us not be in the tears of samsara anymore. Let us all go towards the ultimate happiness. Come alone, come. And everyone hearing what you said, they all happily join you in this journey of gate gate, paragate, parasangati, bodhisvaha. Okay, so with that in mind, everyone so happily joins you, and the Buddha Shakyamuni is so pleased watching what you're doing here. With that in mind, let's recite this mantra in a tune. And again, there are several of you who know how to recite this. Will recite with me. And those of you who do not know this, will listen to us and join us. Okay, let's recite this 7 times. Teyatha Om Gati Gati page 11, 8 verses of mind training. So this, the 8 verses, this is a very important text, and I remember since many years ago that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, during his public addresses, public teachings, would oftentimes say that this text, 8 verses of mind training, this composition, is so precious, particularly as a part of in Tibetan what we call as the Lojong, transforming the mind. Lojong, transforming the mind. This is so precious in this regard, and it's for this reason that His Holiness personally, he said that he recites it every day, as a part of his transformation of his mind. So this would be amazing, and then if you read it, it's not too difficult, it's easy to understand, but then there are times where you understand what is said there, but you may not agree, because they say some of the stanzas like, where it says that, may I view myself as the lowest amongst all, and may I give the victory to all others, and may I accept the defeat. So, oftentimes people say they come to Choe not because that they have so much of happiness. I have so much of happiness, I don't know how to get rid of this happiness. Please Choe teach me how to get rid of happiness. We don't come like this. We come what? I don't have happiness. I have a mental problem. I have this problem. Please teach me how to remove my problem. So we come here not to add to the problem. We come here to expect to remove the problems. Now here the text says that may I view myself as lowest amongst all. May I give my happiness, everything to others. So I did not come for that purpose to Choe. This is how, we would think. But the point is, these things, which you understand what is said there, but you may not agree initially. You may not agree with this at outset, so don't worry. The point is that, for example, so we have Venerable Abdullah here, we have Geshe Namdala, the other scholars are there, so should you have questions, and then some of the very senior members here, so you can have interaction with them. They very recognize. So these things we have to learn. So the point is that, to summarize what is being said there, is that what we seek is happiness, what we shun is miseries. This is a fact. One, as we said in the mantra, Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava, all phenomena arise from the causes. Happiness which we seek also arises from the causes. The miseries which we shun also arise from the causes. Knowing what the causes are, then we will learn how to adopt the causes of happiness, how to discard the cause of the happiness, the cause of miseries. So with that in mind, say the one thing, of course there are so many great detailed dynamics of the mechanisms, the processes of the arising happiness, arising miseries and so forth. One thing we can, in a very great summary, we can say is that the happiness deep down, in terms of the causes of happiness, is the self-confidence. And the miseries which we shun, deep down, is the ego. Make sure that we identify these two things. Happiness, deep down, there's a self-confidence. Miseries that we go through, deep down, there is ego there. Right? Okay, we can go into greater length if time allows, if time permits, but this is a fact. But ordinary people, oftentimes they equate the two. Self-confidence and the ego, they equate the two. How? When you say that, oh, he's very self-confident, she's very self-confident, implicitly you are saying that he or she is very egoistic. Right? And when we say that, when we tend to compliment someone else by saying, oh, this person, this boy he has no ego, she has no ego. When you say this, in a way we are saying that this person is a totally incompetent person. This is how we understand it, which means that we equate the two things. As long as we equate the two things, what happens? As your self-confidence grows, ego likewise escalates. And or when you subdue the ego, your self-confidence also goes down. This is where we are going wrong. Now, the purpose of the Dharma, the purpose of coming to Choe Ling should be, first of all, to distinguish the two things, ego and the self-confidence. By distinguishing the two things, say your education may not be even class 10, it doesn't matter. And financially you may not be at all doing well, it doesn't matter. Still you can have the self-confidence. Self-confidence is so important. Financially, or your academic performance, or family, whatever. Even though you may not be classified as a classic, but we still yearn for happiness. As long as we yearn for happiness, self-confidence is the basis for happiness. As long as we shun miseries, we have to shun the ego. This is what we have to keep in mind. With that in mind, what happens is that first we have to distinguish the two things. After distinguishing the two things, then learn how to, so all the teachings that we attend, from all the teachers coming to Choe Ling, we learn how to subdue the ego while not compromising with the self-confidence. Boost the self-confidence, subdue the ego. By boosting self-confidence, your happiness will rise. Your happiness will shoot up. By subduing the ego, your miseries will go down. Right? So, the more you're able to do that, the more your self-confidence goes up and the ego goes down, the more saintly you are. It doesn't matter whether you're born as a Rinpoche, not as a Rinpoche, it doesn't matter. It's just see, within your mind, self-confidence goes up and the ego goes down. If this is happening, you are the real Rinpoche. Do you know what Rinpoche is? Rinpoche means the precious one. You are the real precious one. Just use the common sense. This is how the people, unfortunately, they don't understand it. So somebody with the label Rinpoche, we respect so much. Right? And if you look at the background, why this young boy is respected so much as a Rinpoche? Because his previous birth did something so good. What good did he do? He boosted his self-confidence and he subdued his ego. So therefore he was revered as a saint. Now his reincarnation is given such a treat, given such a good treatment. Right? So this is idea. Okay. So with this mind, the 8 levels of mind training, this is not to subdue us. This is to subdue our ego. Distinguish the two things. Never subdue yourself. No, never underestimate yourself. Never have self-hate with yourself. This self is so important. This self is so important. What is unimportant, what is bad is the ego. Self-referential ego. Self-referential ego, this is bad. This is what destroys us, this is what destroys others. The self is not bad. This self is so important. This self is so important. If you don't have the confidence in self, then how can you elevate this self to a higher state of transformation? How can you do that? So this self is so important. What is bad? If you really hate someone, we have to hate the self-referential ego. Don't hate the self. Oftentimes people, they say that I have a self-hate, I hate myself. This, if you hate yourself, this is the greatest of the failure. No one can fail you. No one can fail you. Only you can fail yourself by hating yourself. So never have self-hate. Nobody can fail you. Never have self-hate. Always love yourself. This self is so important. But don't go to the extreme of narcissism. Right? This self is so important. Logically, rationally, this self is so important. Because this self has the capacity to become Buddha, to benefit all sentient beings. Right? So the point here, 8 levels of mind training, it will teach us how to subdue the self referential ego, and how to boost our confidence, self-confidence. This is very important. Okay, well, let's read this. 8 verse 120. With the determination to achieve the highest aim, for the benefit of all sentient beings, which surpasses even the wish-fulfilling gem, may hold them dear at all times. Whenever I interact with someone, may I view myself as the lowest amongst all, and from the very depths of my heart, respectfully hold others as superior. In all my deeds may I probe in my mind, and as soon as mental and emotional afflictions arise, as they endanger myself and others, may I strongly confront them and avert them. When I see beings of unpleasant character, oppressed by strong negativity and suffering, may I hold them dear, for they are rare to find, as if I have discovered a true treasure. When others out of jealousy treat me wrongly with abuse, slander and scorn, may I take upon myself the defeat and offer to others the victory. When someone whom I have helped, or in whom I have helped place great hopes, mistreats me in extremely hurtful ways, may regard him still as my precious teacher. In brief, may I offer benefit and joy to all my mothers, both directly and indirectly. May I quietly take upon myself all hurts and pains to my mothers. May all these remain undefiled by the stains of the 8 mundane concerns, and may I, recognizing all things as illusion, devoid clinging be released from bondage. From my 2 collections, vast space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds were blinded by ignorance. Okay. So today, I'm thinking of, given that the topic that we are to cover the 3 days is on the Mahamudra, in Tibetan Chakchen, Chakyachimbo, Mahamudra, which is extremely precious teaching, initially taught by the Buddha Shakyamuni, then inherited by the great masters in the lineage, like the great Saint Tilopa, the great Saint Naropa, then the great Saint Jesumarpa, the great Saint Jesumilla, the great Saint Jesum Kampopa, and all these great enlightened beings as lineage masters. And then say as we can see here, the handout, Benjamin, the great highly enlightened scholar plus a saint, Benjamin Choe Gyaltsen. So this is how we inherited this teaching. This teaching is so precious, so precious. And at the same time, had it not been the case that the number of, say, people hearing about Mahamudra teaching and so forth, then I would not be really keen to touch this area. This area as the topic for the teaching. So why I'm doing this here is more being compelled by the given situation, because there are so many people who are, so who say that I received this teaching from this, I received that teaching, this teaching, and so forth, and then people have become more and more infatuated with the teaching on Mahamudra and Dzogchen. People have become more and more infatuated with this. So, had it been the case that people are actually getting the very precise, they are really ready for the teaching, number one, and then actually getting the authentic teachings is amazing. It's amazing. Unfortunately, this is questionable. It's questionable. There are so many good teachings, very authentic teachings, but they are not so publicly given. And what has been publicly available is maybe oftentimes diluted. Because of this, people can easily go into wrong direction. Because one, they themselves are not to blame the teachers. They themselves are not ready. And then say you are doing your, say, class 5, class 6, and then jumping to PhD programs. And then you just, get lost. So this is the danger. And because of which, what we're going to do here for the next 3 days is not with the expectation that each one of us here will practice this. Amongst us, maybe there are 1 or 2 who can actually practice it. But for others, this will really pave the way to understand the panorama of the Dharma, the panorama of the Dharma, what is the teaching of the Dharma, and say, where are we, where to go, how to go, right? Where are we, where to go, and how to go. So this is a panorama of the Dharma. So this is what I'm expecting. So in the process, we will touch other areas as well, which will be very helpful for our present practice. Okay, so let me begin with the mantra which we recited. Tiyatha Om Gate Gate Parakate Parasambhati Bodhiswaha. Okay, so this mantra, this is a very comprehensive. If you could read these, let's say, the first line of page 9. First line of page 9. If you read this, it says, therefore the mantra of the professional wisdom, the mantra of the great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of professional wisdom is declared, Vyatha Om Gate Gate Parakate Parasambhati Buddhism. So this mantra, if you understand it fully, you have understood the Dharma fully. This is just one mantra, very simple, short mantra. Yet if you understand it, understand the meaning, you understand the Buddhism, the whole Buddhist canons. Over there, all these canons are there, the Buddhist texts, innumerable in number. Say the teachings of the Buddha translated into Tibetan is about 110 volumes, huge volumes are there, and the Indian commentaries, more than like 200 volumes are there, and Tibetan commentaries in thousands. So, if you know this mantra so well, then that suffices you knowing all these texts. So therefore, we are so fortunate that we are encountering with this, the Heart Sutra mantra. Okay, so I'll quickly explain this. This is more like a panoramic view. Panoramic view is not the detail, right? Tatyatha, or in Sanskrit, Tatyatha. Tatyatha means here is thus. Here is thus. Om. So with Om, without Om, why this Om is put in bracket? Is because it can be with or without. Oftentimes, people recite without Om. Tiyatha Gade Gade Para Gade Para Samgade Bodhisam. Or some include this. Tiyatha Om Gade Gade Para Gade Para Samgade Bodhisam. So both are correct. This is not that one is wrong, one is right. If you include the Om, this Om has a tremendous connotation, tremendous meaning inside. This Om is a syllable which is consisted of 3 letters. A, U, Ma. And these 3 letters, they symbolize the body, spatial mind. Body, spatial mind of us, the ordinary beings, and the body, spatial mind of the enlightened beings. So as we recite the syllable Om, this should be a reminder for us that I should transform this body, spatial mind into the body, spatial mind of the enlightened beings. In other words, the gold mixed with the soil, which we explained in the beginning. The gold mixed with the soil in its ore. In the ore form, the gold and the soil is to mix. You don't see the gold. In the eyes of the ordinary people, we just see the soil there, and we're going to done this. But in the eyes of the experts, they will not done this. This is so precious, so precious. And in the eyes of the experts, this is gold. And then you ask them, how do you know that this is gold and this is just ordinary soil? And they will say, no, this is gold. And then they will remove the soil. They will remove the soil. As they remove the soil more and more, progressively, the gold inside will start shining, start glowing, right? and the soil is moved more and more, then the gold still shines more, grows more. Then you realize that there's a gold there. This is not ordinary soil, there's gold there. Likewise, the body, speech, and mind that we have. This is like, how is that like? The body that we have. The body that we have, is this so pure, or so defined? It's so defined, it's so prone to sickness, aging, death, right? And it has a tendency, it never becomes more and more beautiful. It becomes worse and worse. You agree with me? The body, as we age, it becomes worse and worse. Right? Same, I remember myself when I was age, I think age 6 or 7. Age 6 or 7. I remember myself, I was so fascinated with my own hand, particularly my left hand. It was a daylight, and I was outside playing, and suddenly it so happened that I was leaning against a wall. My hand was leaning against the wall. I saw this hand is so beautiful, so exquisite. Complexion is amazing. Now I look at it, now it disappeared. It's hopeless. So, look, our body has the tendency. It has nothing good in it. It becomes worse, 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 worse. And then it is prone to sickness, aging, death. It's all because of this body. Hunger, thirst, all this happens because of this body. You agree with me or not? So the body that we have is so defined, is so defective, it is with so much limitation. This is a fact, one. And the speech that we have is even worse. The speech that we have, we talk only nonsense. Right? Only when we come to Shivasan, we can expect to recite Om Ye Dharma, otherwise, in the job, in the workplace, with your friends, it's just garbage. And the mind, right from early morning you wake up, is garbage. Particularly Monday morning, is terrible, right? So the mind, look at how our mind is so defiled. Mind is so defiled. Same, if somebody, just amazing how our mind works, right? So for example, recently what happened? Somebody, I'm not going to mention the name, the person. If somebody does A, you see a problem. If somebody does non-A, you see a problem. What should the person do now? A or non-A? These are only two choices. A, you see a problem. Non-A, you see a problem. If I say B, then you can say, okay, you can do C. But A or non-A, other than these two, there's nothing else. How? Same. There was some person, and the person said that, I have to come to Tibet house. Form to say, to return a book. And the person is a little elderly. So I offered to send a driver to pick up the book from the place, from his or her place. I'm going to keep it confidential place, and so that the person doesn't have to come. And the response given by the person, imagine, what is the response you could expect? What response would you expect? Thank you. Right? Thank you. But it's the opposite. It's like, can I not even step inside Tibet house? This is the response that came to me. What should I do now? If I say, yes, you come to Tibet house, can't you even send a driver to pick the book from me? Right? So this is a situation. So look, our mind is so defiled. If the person does something A, you see a problem. If the person does non-A, you see the problem. Right? This is how our mind works. Mind is so defiled. But the true nature of mind is not defined, it's so pure. The gold is inside this soil. The soil is very dirty, but the gold is inside this. Our mind, however defiled the body, speech, mind that we have, however defiled they are, deep inside, at the core, there is an incredibly beautiful, the gold, incredibly beautiful diamond there existing within us, which is known as the Buddha nature. Okay, so I'll go into more detail on this a little bit later. So now, let's say Om. When you say Om, that the body, speech, and mind that I have, symbolized by Ar, U, Ma, these are all very defiled. Now, I should be transforming the body, speech, defiled body, speech, mind that I have into the pure body, speech, mind of the enlightened beings. Right? I'll remove the soil from my body and I'll make it an enlightened body. I'll remove the soil from my speech, I'll make it an enlightened speech. And I'll remove the soil from my mind, I'll make the mind into an enlightened mind. So this is the purpose, reminded to us by the recitation of the mantra. Which mantra? Which syllable? Om. Right? So this is how we should. The next question, how are you going to do this? How are you going to transform the body, speech, and mind, the defiled body, speech, mind that you have, into the pure, enlightened body, speech, mind? How are you going to do this? This is the next question. Then comes Gati, Gati, Paragati, Parasamgati, Bodhisvaha. So how? Gati, Gati, Paragati, Parasamgati, Bodhisvaha. In English, it means go, go, go beyond, go utterly beyond, and establish your enlightenment. Go, go, go beyond, go utterly beyond, and establish your enlightenment. So, how many things are said there? How many things are said there? Go. Then the second one is go. Third one is go beyond. Paragate. Fourth one is Parasamgate, go utterly beyond. Then number 5 is Bodhisvaha, which is establish your enlightenment. Okay, so there are 5 things mentioned there. So these are not just randomly said. 5 things, go, 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 not like that. There's a reason why these 5 points are mentioned. So the point is, when we say go, which means that there must be a place where we are at the moment, which is not a conducive place for us. When we say go, means don't stay there, go, which means the place we are, where we are in at the moment, is not a conducive place, it's a miserable place. What is that place? Samsara. It's not really a good place. It's a terrible, if we give a little bit of thought to this, say, someone who is in, say, the early 20s or say less than 20s, you may not be aware of this at the moment. So, say 30s and 40s, 50s, we are more aware of that the existence that we are in, this is not really nice, it's so unpleasant, it's so miserable, right? Okay, so now, go means that we are already in a place which is unconducive, which is so miserable. One, go. And then, from this, we are advised to go somewhere. Go somewhere means there should be a destination where we should be going. So the destination is given, number 2. Right? From where we are, if you are to go to a destination, there must be a path. There must be a path. There must be a path. It's not that where you are is the destination. Right? Because that you have to move from one place to another place, what takes you closer towards that place is known as the path. So where we are is the samsara, where we are going to go is the perfect state of happiness. Perfect state of happiness, this is where we are going to go. And then what takes us closer towards that place is known as the path. And how many paths are there? 5 paths. Gati, Gati, Paragati, Parasamgati, Bodhisvaha. These are the 5 paths. Now these 5 paths, technically, the 5 paths have their technical terms. What are they? Gati. The first one is the Gati. Technical term is the path of accumulation. Path of accumulation. The first one. The second Gati is the path of. Second one is path of preparation. Third one is path of. What is the third one? Gati, Gati. Paragati. Paragati indicates which path? Path of seeing. And then the next one is Parasamgati. Parasamgati, go utterly beyond. This symbolizes which path? Path of meditation. Very good, path of meditation. Then Bodhisvaha, establish your enlightenment. So this indicates which path? Path of no more learning. So the 5 paths. We need to know these 5 paths. Path of accumulation, path of preparation, path of seeing, path of meditation, path of no more learning. Okay, let's see. In a very quickly, say The accumulation, preparation, seeing, meditation, no more learning. Right? Let's say this again. Accumulation, preparation, seeing, meditation, no more learning. Okay. So then with each you qualify that with the part. Part of accumulation, part of preparation, part of seeing, part of meditation, part of no more learning. Okay. So when we say gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhiswa, go beyond, go utterly beyond, and establish your enlightenment. When you say go, right? So this indicates journey. You agree with me or not? So undertake a journey. One journey, external journey or mental journey? Mental journey, right? Mental journey. Okay. So it's not external journey, it's a mental journey. Because it is a mental journey, we should know what is that. What is that journey? Means the place where we are at the moment, the place where we are going, the destination, and the path which takes us closer to the destination. So all these things should be intact within the mind. Within the mind, because it's a mental journey, it's not external journey. It's the journey of the mind, right? So the place where we are is what? Samsara. What is samsara? Bangalore samsara? Or Delhi samsara? Or Manhattan samsara? Or Nigeria samsara? Right? Samsara is when your own mind, is defiled, when our own mind is defiled, that is samsara. That is samsara. Okay, let's say, this is very important. Let's say that, how many of you have seen Mount Kailash? How many of you have seen Mount Kailash? Okay, no one. Including myself, no one. Okay. Okay, now let's say that we are going to have a wonderful, journey to Mount Kailash on pilgrimage, right? Okay. So for that matter, and keep in mind that Mount Kailash there, the snow, and because of which you should protect your eyes, right? So we will buy goggles. We'll buy goggles. Goggles to protect our eyes from the burning light from the reflection from the sun, from the snow. Okay, so we go there, and let's say that Group A and Group B. I'm not going to say which Group A and Group B. That's a Group A and Group B. Group A, the goggle, the glasses are not clean. Group B, the glasses have to be very clean, so clean, right? So we all go there, and we're all expecting the Mount Kailash being so sacred, holy, and the snow freshly snowed there. It must be very clean, very exciting place there. We all go there. Group A goes there, and Group A were not at all excited. Group A was so feeling low. What is this? So dirty. Group B, so happy. It's a beautiful snow, so clean, spotlessly clean, so clean. Tell me, Group A and Group B, are these two groups looking at the same snow, or they are looking at different snows? They are looking at the same snow. Tell me, if you are looking at the same snow, why one enjoys that and the other did not enjoy? Why? Is it because of the snow, Mount Kailash being biased, or because of what? Because of the difference in the goggles, the glasses, right? The glasses. So Group A, once Group B tells Group A that just clean your glass, clean the glasses, clean the goggle, then you clean the goggles so well, you look at it, you will enjoy this. It's not that a new Mount Kailash came today now, because after cleaning, it was existing there, but because the lens through which you are looking at the Mount Kailash, that is so impure, you can see the object, is impure, right? So we look at the world through the lens of a dirty mind. just as we look at Mount Kailash through the lens of dirty goggle, then we see very dirty. Likewise, we look at the world through a very dirty lens of our own mind. As long as our mind is dirty, through which we look at the world, we can never expect to see the world as beautiful. You agree with me or not? So what we see, because that the lens of the mind, through which we interact with the world is very dirty, we can't expect to see the world as clean. We will only see the world as very dirty and very impure and very undesirable. So that is samsara. So that samsara is just nothing but the reflection of the dirtiness of our mind. Right? So when we say gade, means go away from the dirtiness of your mind. You getting it? So next, gati, paragati, parasangati. Bodhisattva means keep cleaning your lens, keep cleaning the lens of the mind, keep cleaning the lens of the mind. First phase, second phase, third phase, fourth phase, fifth phase, then it becomes so clean. When it becomes so clean, the world that you interact with is so pure, is so beautiful. Right? Okay, so this is the purpose. Gati, gati, paragati, parasamgati, bodhiswaha. Okay, now with this mind, the point is that it encourages us to cleanse our mind of the mental defilements. Now for that we need to know, let's say that if I come to Choe Ling after the renovation, when I first entered, then I may have a little fear, right? What fear? Oh, because of renovation, there may be more mosquitoes coming now. Mosquitoes, then the dengue, the chikungunya, a little fear, right, coming in. And then Venerable Rabdana tells me, Geshe-la, have no fear, right? I have what fear? What fear do I have? What fear do I have? Hey, show us something. What fear do I have? What is my fear? Of becoming sick because of the mosquitoes bringing chikungunya and dengue in me, right? Okay, this is my fear. And when Rabdana said that, so okay, what would you expect Venerable Rabdana to give the answer? What kind of answer you would expect Venerable Rabdana to give in order to remove my fear? Don't say this. Keep that in your mind. Right? Imagine, then when Rabdana gives the response, Geshe-la, have no worry, no fear. Have no fear. Because there is no elephant in Choe Ling Hall. Huh? Because there is no elephant in Choe. Is this fact or not? There is no elephant in Choe Ling Hall. Is this a fact or this is wrong? This is a fact. But this fact, does it help to remove my fear? No. If you really want to remove my fear, what fact should you give? No mosquitoes there. No mosquitoes allowed in this room. Right? All mosquitoes are forbidden from entering into Choe Ling. If this is what you're able to say, only then my fear will go away. Otherwise, even though you provide me with fact, the fact could be totally irrelevant. Although it's a fact, it could be irrelevant. So therefore, now, if you really want to remove my fear, you first have to know what fear I have. You getting it? You agree with me? If you're really kind to me, you want to remove my fear, first you have to examine what kind of fear I have. The kind of fear that Choe might have an elephant, so therefore I cannot go in, or Choe might have mosquitoes, so that I might get chikungunya so forth. So first you have to check what kind of fear that I have. Once you know what kind of fear that I have, then accordingly you have to give me the insight, the wisdom which is relevant, which is directly relevant in eliminating my fear. You agree with me or not? If this is so, then we have what? The mental defilements. The mind defiled, through which we interact with the world, and that creates so much of pain in the mind. Now, if you don't want this to happen, we have to, can we clean the external world? Or can we clean our mind? We have to clean our mind. As long as we don't clean our mind, however beautiful the external world is, we'll continue to see it as hopeless world, right? Hopeless, the reality. So now we have to clean our mind. To clean our mind, we have to resort to remedies, yes, no? To clean the mind of the mental defilements, you have to introduce remedies, yes, no? Okay, to introduce remedies, what kind of remedies to introduce? We have to know what kind of defilements we have. You agree with me or not? Very good. Now, first we have to introduce to you remedies. We have to know the defilements, the nature of the defilements. And the defilements I'm going to very quickly explain to you, right? Just to give you one sample. On that basis, we'll come to know. Let's say that you go to bed and you fall asleep. And then you dream of your neighbor, right? You dream of your neighbor, and the neighbor was the same, holding your mobile in his hand. Okay, your iPhone 8, which you recently bought, he was holding that, and you become so angry, right? That this neighbor has stolen my mobile, iPhone 8, which I got very recently. Okay, then what you said that this is my thief, and then the neighbor becomes even more angry. Then the neighbor starts to fight with you, and you also start punching. Two of you have fist fight. With a fist fight, the policemen, they arrested both of you. Then they take you to prison, and prison is not a good place for you to stay, right? So prison is like samsara. So why you end up in prison? Why you end up in prison? Hey, because of the fist fight. What made you? Why did you have the fist fight? Because of the anger. Because of the anger towards your neighbor. Why did the anger towards the neighbor? Because of the attachment to your mobile, right? Okay. Now tell me. If you don't want to go to the prison, what should you do? You should stop fighting. If you don't want to fight, what should you do? You should not have the anger towards that person. If you don't want to have the anger towards that person, what should you do? You should not have attachment to the mobile iPhones 8 Plus. If you don't want to have this attachment to this particular mobile, which mobile? The dream mobile. What should you do? Hey.
Buy a functional mobile.
Buy a functional mobile.
Practice generosity.
Practice generosity.
Don't have a sense of self. Don't have a sense of self.
Don't have a sense of self. Anyone else? Okay. My question, I'm going to repeat this question, and I'm testing how intelligent are the Choe members. Right? My question is, okay, if you don't want to be in the prison, you have to stop fighting. If you don't want to fight, have no anger towards that person. If you don't want to have anger towards that person, stop having attachment to the mobile. If you don't want to have the attachment to that mobile, what should you do? This is my question.
Wake up.
Huh? Wake up. Your name?
Ling.
Oh, the Rob's brother. Okay. Wake up. Wake up. Your attachment to the dream mobile will stop. You don't have to buy a functional mobile. And then you don't have to be, generous to that. Okay, being generous is also one way. But you wake up, being generous, and you may regret. It's iPhone 8 Plus. It's not a functional mobile. It's iPhone 8 Plus. Being generous, next moment you may regret. Wake up, you will not regret at all. Right? You wake up, all the chain of the causes of miseries will stop. Wake up. Okay, tell me, why in the dream? What is the final cause of you being in the prison in the dream? Why? What is that final cause? Final cause.
Self-grasping.
Huh?
Self-grasping.
Self-grasping. Inquisitiveness for the phone. Anyone else?
You're asleep. You're asleep.
actually, my question?
Lack of awareness.
Lack of awareness. Okay, make it a little clearer. Lack of awareness of what?
Of your own attachment to the mobile.
No. Yes. Make it clearer. Lack of awareness of the unreal. Lack of awareness that the dream mobile is a dream mobile. Right? In the dream, you see the dream mobile as a real mobile. Not just a real mobile. Dream mobile as a real iPhone 8 Plus. Right? Okay. That is the ignorance. That is the ignorance. That is the ignorance. So tell me, this misery in the dream, finally the root cause of this misery is what? Ignorance. Do you agree with me? Okay, now, if you want to remove my miseries, you should think of removing my ignorance. You agree with me? If you want to remove my ignorance, what should you do? Okay, this is a question. If you want to remove my ignorance, then you may say, okay, should I pray to Buddha? Buddha, please remove my ignorance. Buddha, please remove my ignorance. However, million times I pray this, ignorance will not go away. Keep this in mind, right? Ignorance, well, what do you mean by ignorance? Ignorance is a mental state which does not know the reality. Or in other words, ignorance is a mental state whose apprehension of object, there is a discrepancy between the apprehension of object and the reality of object. There's a discrepancy between the reality and how the mind sees. When the discrepancy is there, this is known as ignorance. You're getting it? Now, ignorance does not know the reality. In dark, you don't know the reality. You agree with me or not? In dark, you don't see the reality. With ignorance, you don't see the reality. So ignorance is like darkness. If you're in dark and you want to read a book, if you're in dark, you want to read a book, what should you do? Oh, Buddha, please remove the darkness. Buddha, please remove the darkness. However million times you say this prayer, don't expect the darkness will disappear, right? Okay. If we don't have even this small wisdom to introduce light, how can you expect such a big miracle? Big miracles can happen to only the enlightened beings. Enlightened being means somebody who already has enough wisdom, right? Okay, now the point is, if you don't want to have the darkness, that can best be done, eliminated by introducing light. Light a candle or switch on the light. Likewise, to remove the ignorance, it is only done through introducing the light of the wisdom. You're getting it? Okay, wisdom. The next question, what is wisdom? Right? Wisdom, by the very definition, is a mental state whose apprehension of the reality tallies with the reality. Wisdom is a mental state whose apprehension of the object tallies with the reality. This is wisdom. So now with this in mind, right, what we have learned thus far is Tyatha Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswa. Means that finally, that what I want is, I want ultimate happiness. I don't want miseries. If I want ultimate happiness, the ultimate source of happiness is within me, like the gold when mixed with the soil in the ore, the gold ore. It is there. So this, my job is to separate the gold from the soil, or separate the soil from the gold. Likewise, separate the mental defilement from the true nature of my mind, pure nature of my mind. How to do that? How to do that is in the form of Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswa. Not thinking of removing external dirts, but remove the mental dirts. Right? Now, how to remove the mental dirts? And mental dirts, we come to know that finally the mental dirt is dirt in the form of the ignorance. So to remove the ignorance, it should be by introducing the wisdom, the light of the wisdom. You agree with me? If you follow me up to this point, then we will switch to the next phase. Next is the little more detail of this point. Okay. Now, let's say the defilements. Let's say the defilements. Let's explore the defilements. Now, defilements are mind. When is our mind defiled? When is the mind defiled? When you wake up or in the dream? In the dream, not when you wake up. Wake up, our mind is so pure. We have no anger. Huh? In both cases, our mind is defiled. You agree with me or not? Okay, Monday morning, what is Monday morning like? Exciting? Monday morning.
It is exciting.
Huh?
Exciting for me.
Okay, exciting for you. Why?
I love what I plan.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. With exception, your name?
Rajan.
Rajan. With exception, Rajan? Okay, sometimes. Okay, so let's say that, how many of you, when somebody accuses you, when somebody insults you, you feel excited? Wow, today he insulted me, I'm so happy. How many of you felt excited? Or how many of you felt no? How many of you felt no? All of us, right? If there is exception, either the person is enlightened or it's time for the person to go to mental hospital. If there is somebody who is excited, either the person is enlightened or it's time for the person to go to mental hospital, right? Okay, so let's say that if we say no, when you say no, are you happy or no? Are you happy or you are unhappy? We are very unhappy. When you say no, there's a heaviness there, there's a corrosion there within the mind. Okay, now let's say, how then we study the nature of the defilement, right? Okay, the nature of defilement, say for example, let's give a very simple example. Say somebody insults you in public. What is your emotional reaction? Okay, that person insults people. Should I become angry or not? Then William said, no. Okay, a little bit. Okay, let me meditate to become angry. How many of you do that? You have to meditate in order to become angry?
No. But sometimes...
No, my question is, somebody insults you baselessly. Baselessly, somebody insults you in public, and then you ask Venerable Damdul who's sitting next to you, Venerable, should I become angry? Then Venerable Damdul said, a little bit, because this is baselessly he did it. Otherwise he will never learn a lesson. You have to teach a little lesson to him. You should become angry. Okay, let me meditate to become angry. Okay, he did this, I should become angry. Is this the process how anger arises on us? No. Or how does anger arise? Huh? This is the word, waiting to erupt. It's so spontaneous, so fast. You agree with me? Okay, now look, this is so important. Mental defilements that we have. Mental defilements. To see, for example, say if somebody is suffering from tuberculosis, which medicine? There are 3 degrees. Nowadays I don't know. Earlier, first the what? Okay, those who are 40 plus, tell me. 40 plus, you have.
First was vaccination.
They say the first stage, second stage, third stage. First stage medicine, the first stage illness, second stage, third stage. Third stage means you are given very strong medicine. You agree with me or not? Okay, now in order to apply the remedies, we need to know which stage of the defilement. In our case, which stage is that? Professional stage. Mental defilements that we have, they are so professional. You agree with me or not? They are so professional. How do we know that they are so professional? One, they are so intense, very intense. Number 2, they are so spontaneous. These are the 2 characteristics of the mental defilements that we have. Do you agree with me or not? Huh? They are so intense and they are so spontaneous. We don't need to wait even for a second for the anger to erupt. And instantly erupts. You agree with me or not? Okay. Now, if this is the negativity, if this is the mental defilement, which is so spontaneous and So spontaneous and so intense. Now the remedies should be also very intense and very spontaneous. You agree with me or not? Okay. Say, in many cases, there is there is a robbery case. Robbery case happened, or there's a riot happening, right? A robbery case, riot happening. That is with such intensity and spontaneity there. And Buddhist people come when? After everything dissolved. Everything finished. First, when everything is happening in a very intense form, people are seeking the permission, right? The police officers, they say, oh, this is happening, what should we do? Then message passed to the higher office, then it has to go in written, and then the clergyman is not there, right? Or it'll take a little time, and then, oh no, it's so urgent, but what should I do? Our clerk is not there. And the clerk is right there, clerk wrote it there, and our postman is not there. Our peon is not there. Peon should be there. He cannot go there. And then, finally, when the sanction, everything came down, when the policemen actually go there, everything is settled. This is exactly what is happening to our mind. To our mind, right? So why do we come to Choe Ling? What for? To learn how to apply the remedies, right? Okay. So remedies what? Meditation on the emptiness of the mind, right? Okay. So meditation on the nature of the mind, emptiness of the mind. Okay, first, Choe Ling is the center, say advertisement. And what? For what? To remove the mental dirt of the ignorance. Ignorance arises and left already, and Choe Ling is still sending the emails. Hey, there's a teaching happening on the nature of the mind, right? And then we come, right? And then we come, and still not happen. And then prayer started, and the ignorance already arose, dissolved, already finished, right? So the point is that in our case, let's see that the remedies, they are so weak, but Bangalore people are so lucky that although the remedies are so weak at the moment, but we have a place to go to look for the remedies. You agree with me or not? Even that is so precious, right? For example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama today, he's so enlightened. Many eons ago, he was not like that. He was as ordinary as what we are today. The Buddha Shakyamuni, Buddha, fully enlightened. Many eons ago, he was as ordinary as what we are today. Only by following the steps, gate, paragate. So Buddha Shakyamuni, many eons ago, he must have gone through Choe Ling like this, the center once, and then slowly improve. So that becomes like the very foundation which is so precious for one to grow, right? Okay, so with that in mind, the point is that within us, what is ideally required to remove our miseries is to remove the ignorance and the subtle stains. To remove the ignorance which is so intense and so
spontaneous.
Okay, so our mind does not spontaneously work. To do for this word spontaneity, right? Okay, let's say. So the ignorance is so spontaneous, so intense and so spontaneous. So the remedy that we should apply should be also very spontaneous and intense. Okay, now our job is to look for a spontaneous and intense wisdom as the remedy. You're getting it? Okay. Now next is, how can you get it? It is only through processes. Only through processes. Never expect that you go to Choe Ling day one and then you are liberated. Right? Okay. What should be the process? Keep in mind, 3 levels of the wisdom. This is so important. 3 levels of wisdom. 1. Wisdom derived through learning. Wisdom derived through learning. Number 2. Wisdom derived through reflection. Number 3. Wisdom derived through meditation. 3 levels of wisdom. What are they? Wisdom derived through learning. What is number 2? Wisdom derived through reflection. What is number 3? Wisdom derived through meditation. 3 wisdoms. Okay. Now, what we are going to learn as much as possible, as far as possible, try to gain conviction in what you're learning. This is so precious. This is the strength. This is the beauty of the Buddha's teaching. Let me repeat it. Whatever we learn, as much as possible, try to gain conviction in what you learn. Try to gain conviction, confidence in what you learn. Meaning, don't follow blindly. This is the point. Gain conviction, not following blindly. Right? That is the beauty and the strength of the teachings of the Buddha. Don't forget it. With this mind, I'm talking about the 3 levels of wisdom, right? 3 levels of wisdom. What are they? Wisdom derived through learning, wisdom derived through reflection, wisdom derived through meditation. 3. Okay, so each of these 3 we have to gain conviction in as to what each of these means. Okay, first, what's the first one? Wisdom derived through learning. Okay. Say we all come to Choe something, and then we learn about what is the nature of the mind, what is the conventional nature of the mind, what is the Mahamudra pertaining to the conventional nature of the mind, what is Mahamudra pertaining to the ultimate reality of the mind, what is the objective clear line, what is the subjective clear line, what is the unity of the subject line, and so on. So these we learn, right? Say we learn them. Okay, we learn them, and then you leave, say you live Choe or something, and then at home, and then you get the wisdom clear line, the subjective clear line, meaning clear line, the union, these things happen? No, right? So first we gather the information, we come to learn, we gather information. You may not be fully convinced, you may not be convinced, you may not gain conviction, but you do know that okay, there is what is known as the ignorance, which is spontaneous and intense. For this, to remove this, we need to apply the remedies in the form of wisdom. And the wisdom should be equally intense and spontaneous. And how to make it spontaneous, intense? This is through these steps. And are you really convinced with that? I'm not too sure yet. But this is what I've learned. Right? So it is like, for example, how many of you have heard the word emptiness? Quickly raise your hands. Okay, most of you have heard the word emptiness, right? Okay. And how many of you have learned that emptiness is a negative phenomenon? Negative not as unwholesome. This is not a connotation. It's a very different connotation. Emptiness is in the form of a negation. How many of you know about this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, many of you. Okay. Now, if I tell you that emptiness is an object of phenomena of the category negation category, and emptiness and dependent origination, these two are the 2 sides of the same coin. When I say like this, does the real emptiness come to your mind? Does the real emptiness come to your mind? Right? Okay, it hardly comes. But the words are there. At least you know what these, at least you have learned. You've learned that the emptiness is a negative phenomenon, and it is the emptiness and dependent origination. These are 2 sides of the same coin. And yes, I've learned about this, but how that is the case, I have no clue. But I've learned that. I'm not really confident in this. Okay, this much learning. For example, how many of you know E equals mc squared is the equation set by Albert Einstein? And how many of you know how to derive this? 1. How to derive this? No, not the full form of this. This is not a connotation. The derivative. How to derive this equation, right? Okay, 1 is there. Okay, but we all, including myself, I know that E equals mc squared. This is a very famous equation of Albert Einstein. But if somebody asks me, How is this derived? I have no clue. I have no clue. You getting it? This is what I simply know as the wisdom of learning. I have no conviction in this. So I've accumulated these as information. I have the information, but I don't have conviction in this information. Gathering of the information is known as wisdom derived through learning, right? Okay, what is the second one? Wisdom derived through reflection. Okay, always give me the full form. Don't give me the short form, right? I know that you are very intelligent ones. Intelligent always go for short ones. But I want the full form. I'm not too intelligent. Okay, let's say wisdom derived through reflection. Number 2. So that is, you have the information. Now you subject the information. You subject the information to analysis, reflection, and analysis to see what it says is true. For example, the Buddha said, all composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are suffering nature. What is that? Hey, the 3, 4 seals. The first one, all composite things are impermanent. What is number 2? All contaminated things are suffering nature. What is number 3? Okay. If we don't have the 4 seals on our fingertips, after I leave Choe, Ling, don't tell others that we learned Mahamudra. Right? Don't say this. And you can discuss among yourself, but don't tell others that we learned Mahamudra. And particularly the subjective clear light, objective clear light, don't mention this. Right? Okay, only we have the 4 seals on our fingertips, then we can share this and I don't have to worry. Okay, 4 seals. All composite things are impermanent, number 1. Number 2, all contaminated things are of suffering nature. Number 3, everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Number 4, transcending sorrow is absolute peace. Right? Okay, these 4 seals, and they are the Venerable is here, the senior ones are here. You ask them. Particularly the new ones, you ask the others. Okay, 4 seals. So with the 4 seals, right? With 4 seals, then okay, this is what the Buddha taught, the 4 seals. But are you confident? Are you really convinced what the Buddha said is correct? I have no confidence. So how should you gain confidence? First of all, to say confidence or not, you should be very objective. Objective means don't say that what the Buddha said is correct. Don't go with this attitude. Right? This is the beauty of the Buddha's teachings. What the Buddha said, oh, this should be correct because the Buddha said it. No, never. This is what the Buddha said, 100%. This is what the Buddha said. Let me check what the Buddha said is correct or not. For this, what should you do? You should subject this to reflection and analysis. Right? So that requires the second wisdom. What's the second wisdom? Wisdom derived through reflection, which means that we have to subject this subject matter to analysis and inquiry. You subject with this subject analysis inquiry, and then what happens? That 100% all these 4 lines are correct. I analyze this and it's 100% true. For example, emptiness, that everything is like a dream. Everything is like a dream. This is what we learned. This is what we learned. The Buddha said, just as in a dream of a youthful girl. This is what the Buddha said. Just as in a dream of a youthful girl. Right? So the Buddha said it, that everything is like a dream. Now, what do I know? I know that the Buddha said that everything is like a dream. Are you confident that everything is like a dream? I may say, I don't know. Right? Now, oh, no, it should be correct. How can I say I'm confident, not confident? It should be correct. It's said by the Buddha. This is not the Buddha's approach. This is not the Buddha's approach. What this 100% is what the Buddha said. Whether or not this is correct, that I have to check. That I have to check. How will you check? You check through the second wisdom. What is second wisdom? Wisdom derived through reflection. So with a constant reflection, constant analysis, constant inquiry, you subject this with inquiry, and then finally when you sense that everything is indeed like a dream. The way things appear to me, they're all deceptive. They don't exist the way they appear to me. They're all deceptive, 100%, right? 100%. Okay, say, I'll give you one example of what is meant by the first wisdom. What's the first wisdom? Wisdom derived through learning. And second one is? Okay, what is the difference between the first two wisdoms?
Gaining information is...
The first one is just the gaining information. Third one is you gain conviction. You gain conviction, right? You gain conviction. Not just information, you gain conviction. So that is because of the second wisdom. Okay, I'll give you the analogy of somebody who had the first wisdom, not the second wisdom. That was when I was 6 years old. I was 6 years old, and then my teacher taught us the multiplication table. 2 into 1 equals 2, 2 into 2 equals 3, no, 4. Okay, so this is what we learned. 3 into 1, 3, 3 into 2, 6, this is what I was taught, right? So, the next day, the teacher said that, okay, tomorrow you have to learn this by heart. And then I will test. Then tomorrow, we were all there. The teacher's face, I could still remember so clearly. She's so good in pinching. She's so good in pinching. Just you do a little wrong, she will pinch you. Right? Okay, said, then the next day, I was just 6 years old. Said, Dorji, stand up. Me. Dorji, stand up. Okay, recite the multiplication table for 3. Now look, okay, look, what I was doing. I put all my fingers behind. Right? And then the teacher, hey Dorji, recite the table. And I could not recite the table. So she's so kind. She told me, Dorji, what is 3 into 1? That's easy. 3 into 1 is 3. 3. 3 into 2? I have no clue. So my fingers are busy. 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 man. Correct? 3 into 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 is finger behind. My fingers are very busy behind. 9. Correct? Okay, tell me. Did I give the correct answer or wrong answer? I give the correct answer. If somebody asks me, how is 3 into 3 equal 9? Can I give the answer? I don't have the clue. Right? But how did I get the correct answer? Because I learned it in form of the formula. I have no clue. I'm not confident that 3 actually equals 3 into 3 equals 9. I have no clue. I'm not at all confident. I did like a parrot, how the parrot did. Right? I just used the information, that's it. Beyond this, I have no conviction. Now, if somebody tells me, are you convinced now? 3 into 3 equals 9. I would say 100% yes. And then you ask me how. Very simple. Okay, I will give 3 apples to Venerable Rabdana, 3 mangoes to Indrani, and 3, say, apricots to your name? Huh? Albin. 3 apricots to Albin. Then I ask you, what's your name? Huh? Giri. Now count how many fruits? Huh? Not you. I've given 3, only 3. Because the task that I've given is 3 into 3, not 3 into 4. 9 fruits. So this is 3 people into 3 mangoes is 9 fruits. Not 3 mangoes. 3 fruits is 9 fruits, right? Now I'm very confident. This confidence I did not have when I was 6 years old. I know the answer correctly, but how the answer comes, I have no clue. You're getting it? This is just the information. I have no conviction. So that is the wisdom derived through learning. No wisdom derived through reflection. Now I have the wisdom derived through reflection. Okay, this is the difference. You're getting it? Now number 2. What is the wisdom derived through meditation? Number 3. What is number 3 wisdom? Wisdom derived through meditation. Okay. Anyone who can give me the difference between the wisdom derived through reflection and the wisdom derived through meditation? Anyone who can give me the difference? Distinction? Digest, very good. Yes, I agree with you. Anyone else?
Assimilated. It's assimilated.
Assimilate, digest. Anyone else?
One is
Thinking and firmness, knowledge.
The firmness, very good.
meditation through reflection is conceptual, while meditation through
Not meditation through, wisdom through reflection.
wisdom through reflection is conceptual.
And
while
wisdom through meditation
could
is
be direct perception.
can be this accurate, correct, but I want very
The most
crystal clear answer.
subtle, powerful mind are able to understand it.
Say again.
With the most subtle, powerful mind, with your concentration, are able to understand it.
Okay, so with the most subtle mind, the power of understanding becomes more powerful. That is the meditation good. Anyone else? Very good. You meditation means what you've reflected, conviction that again you do it over and over again. Still something is missing. Experiential, good. I do not say very good. I said good.
It
Anyone
becomes
else?
spontaneous.
Huh?
Spontaneous.
Very good. Okay. Okay, now let's say spontaneous. Okay, let's say how many of you know this mathematical calculation? How many of you can do this the mathematical calculation? I'll give you a very simple one. Right? Okay, 2 plus 2 plus 2
6.
plus 1
7.
plus 3. Very good. Okay, now don't tell me anything. In the end, when I say what is the answer, you tell me the answer, right? 2 plus 3, don't say anything. Plus 1, plus 2, minus 1, plus 3, minus 1, plus 2, plus 2. 2 plus 3. Okay, what's the answer?
16.
Wow, amazing! Amazing! Very good, thank you. Now, I promise not to complicate the numbers anymore. I'll give you the same exercise, but I may alter the sequence. Okay. I promise not to give you more complicated numbers, 270, like this. I will never give this number. I'll give as simple, just 1 unit. Right? Okay, do it. 2 plus 1, plus 3, minus 1, plus 2, plus 3, plus 1, plus 1, plus 2, minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, minus 3, plus 1, plus 2. What's the answer?
20.
No clue. Why could not do it? If I give you in writing, if I give you 5 minutes, you will do it perfectly well or not. You can do it, but why do you don't do it now? Why do you do not do it now? Yes, yes. Their spontaneity part is missing. That we cannot think fast. You getting it? We cannot think. We cannot think fast. Okay. Are you sure that we cannot think fast? We can think so fast when it is with negative. We are so successful. We are so professional, right? With anger, somebody just insults you in public, instantly it erupts. You don't have to think. You don't even need the time to think. With the negativities, it's so intense. With the positive thoughts, even this simple mathematical calculation, we cannot do it. Our mind is so slow. You agree with me or not? Now, to eradicate this ignorance, we need to introduce the wisdom. You agree with me or not? This wisdom must be as intense, as spontaneous as the ignorance. Yes, no. If this is so spontaneously required, right, then this wisdom must be so spontaneous. Okay, in our case, versus the spontaneity of the wisdom, very slow. Spontaneity is missing. Now the next is how to build this spontaneity. How to build this spontaneity. You have already gained conviction. You have already gained conviction, let's say. You have all gained conviction in this wisdom, but the spontaneity is missing. How to make it spontaneous? Practice. What do you mean by practice? No, just let's say. Yes. So all of us speak English. All of us speak English. Day when you were born, or when you were 2 years old, do you speak good English as you are speaking today? No. But how come that you are able to speak so good English today? It's because of the constant habituation, constant repetition. You agree with me or not? Now, the condition that you've gained, although it may not be spontaneous, to make it spontaneous, it should be done only through repetition. So repeating over the virtues, repeating the virtues is known as meditation. Repeating the virtues is known as meditation. So, the wisdom drive through reflection, whatever conviction that you gained, in order to make it spontaneous, you must subject it to the wisdom drive through meditation. Okay, tea break.